even in moments of very significant danger, as we face the threats of terrorism from the New People's Army, and then from radicals who were endeavoring to blow up buildings, attack military convoys. The terrorist threat was everywhere. But there would be, some moments when my family and I would travel to outside Manila, and sometimes we'd go to Baguio, which was up a mile high, up in the hills. Beautiful place. There was the embassy had a retreat up there, and a wonderful old house that had been the American Governor General's house, and we'd go off there for long weekends or over Thanksgiving or Christmas. And my family and my kids, so they wouldn't be in the car with me, at least while we were around Manila, but they'd be back in one of the follow cars with some of the bodyguards, which were not the targets to be attacked. Oh, my kids, were in middle school and grade school, and we'd got up to Baguio and get out, and they come up and they're kind of upset, and they're, 12 years old and 9 years old and 5 years old, and they said, Dad. I said, oh, what's wrong? Said, the bodyguards won't let us play with the Uzi machine guns that are back there. Can you please tell them to let us do that? They're really cool. So, of course, I didn't do that, but there can be, light moments. And you always had to be candid with my children so they understood what the danger was and how I wanted to keep them out of danger. So while the New People's Army never succeeded in attacking me or killing me, there was one other incident where there was an attempt on my life that came close. And it was when we were up at Baguio at this kind of retreat spot, and the perpetrator was a horse named Sergeant. So at Baguio, at a place called Camp John Hay, it's kind of a recreation area for military people. They could go, take it easy, relax, and there was, mini golf and tennis and hiking trails, and a concession where you could go and rent a horse and be taken out for horse rides. So, gosh, my daughter, 4 or 5 years old, she had her favorite pony named Sweetheart, and she'd get to ride around on Sweetheart. But one day our whole family's coming. So there's 5 of us. We have to have 5 horses. So our daughter Kelly's got Sweetheart, and my wife, who is a slight woman, is going, and she picks a horse. And my 3 kids, who are middle school, elementary school, they're all picking a horse, and the horses are happy to have business, except as I start to walk by the horses. And they all look over in kind of terror themselves, because here's this big, huge American, and who wants to be carrying him around? He looks so heavy. And so the horses, they start pretending that they're lame, and they're limping, and they're coughing and wheezing like they aren't well, and they're averting their eyes, not looking at me, desperately not wanting to be chosen by me to have to carry me around for a couple of hours. So finally I found one horse named Sergeant, and I picked Sergeant, and up on him, and when I get up on his back, he grunts, oh. There we go off. Then we have a couple of guides on their horses who are going to lead us. We're going off for a nice walk and through the woods and the beautiful hills, and it's very balmy weather, and it just couldn't be nicer. But Sergeant, as we're riding, is continuing his act, hoping he'll get taken out of service. He's coughing and limping and showing his distress to having to be carried this huge, heavy load. So then in Baguio, there's a lot of these terraced hills. They go up very high, kind of rice terraces. They're like stepping stones. And there are a few of the terraces, they're not very wide, but where the horse can be a horse trail, and they can walk across from one side to the other. And the guides are leading us over, and there the guide, and then there's my daughter on Sweetheart, and my wife is up there next to her, and then the two boys on their horses, and then me on Sergeant at the end, and one guide behind me. So we're walking along, and on my right side, there's a hill, and on the left side's this drop-off. And so Sergeant's kind of looking over at the drop-off, and he starts looking around to see who's watching. And we're going, and all of a sudden, he kind of jerks and goes, "Ah!" and I almost come flying off the horse, over the hill, down, hundreds of feet into the valley. So I save myself, I pull myself back, and I lean the other way. Now the horse is stumbling, and the guide, who thinks I must be doing something crazy, is saying, no, don't do that, sir, don't do that. Sergeant, figure it's his chance, and he does it again, and I go almost flying off the horse, and I get myself righted, and the guide comes up and grabs Sergeant, and he knows it's over. He hasn't succeeded. We get to the other side, and then we make our way back. But Sergeant has a ignominious place in my history, that the terrorist, as it were, who came closest to getting me was this horse named Sergeant in the Philippines. There's also a rogue elephant who tried to get me in Africa, and a hippo who tried to flip me over on the Nile River into a pool of crocodiles, but those are stories for another day.